I can't be the only Arsenal fan that's both excited, confident, and nervous about this final running. With 3 games away from eternal greatness, 2 games away from being back to the glory days, it feels like the stars are aligning. On one hand, people, for me, it feels like it's done. But obviously, on the other hand, it's not done until it's done. Is it the Arsenal PTSD? Is it really our time? We've been through a lot. My heart can't, I can't lie, man. Like, my heart can't take not winning the Premier League. Obviously, I want the champs. My heart cannot take Arsenal not winning the Premier League from this stage. I'm not going to lie, I'm not having it. I rebuke it. If you believe in God, please make sure you're praying in whatever faith. If you don't believe in God, now's the time to find it. We need to win this. Imagine it goes tits up. I don't know what to say. I don't know where we go. All I can say is time is a healer, not that every wound heals or whatnot. But I do think that's PTSD, and I do think it's done. On the other hand, we are at that stage where there's twists and turns. It is in our hands. Obviously, if we beat Burnley and Crystal Palace, the Premier League is shut. And ideal scenario is the Prem, and it is the Champions League. Minimum, there needs to be a parade booked. Win my Premier League, go and fight against PSG. It's like fighting the strongest kid in school. They've decided they want to beat you up. You know you can't mash them up, so but you need to fight anyways. At least make sure you break a nose or break a bone or they're going to hospital with you, whether they win the fight or not. Minimum, I want to sit there after the Champions League final and say, you know what, we didn't win. They can do their Champions of Europe. We'll never sing that. They'll try and, use the Champions League failure to pop down our thing. But the next day we've got a parade. There has to be a parade. We are 2 games away. Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, all of these players, everything, fans, everything, there's many things we can nitpick. Everything needs to go into that game where it's our last game at home against Burnley. And I'm going to say this again. I do believe this. I'm going to just let me spill, let me flow, man. Let me flow. If you cannot beat an already relegated Burnley and you cannot beat a Crystal Palace side that's got an eye on the European final after everything we've been on the last 4 years, the 20-year drought and everything, you don't deserve to win a Premier League. It's in your hands. It's been in our hands numerous times this season. I don't want to be that guy. But the past does bring regrets. The future does bring uncertainty. I can't keep going over the past. And all of those things. Somehow it's still in your hands. We need this. We need the Premier League. We need that dark cloud lifted for 20 odd years since we've moved to this state. Well, 20 odd years removed from not winning the Premier League. Since we've moved to the stadium, we haven't got major honours. In the last 3 years, 4, including this under Mikel Arteta, we've had some good nights out. We've been all right across the season. Ultimately, we've ended up empty-handed. You lot could go down and be immortal. The shame. I know I'm not the only Arsenal fan. I know I'm quite balanced, but being shameless, I'm 31. I'm gonna do what Man United fans used to do in secondary school. When you're having football debates about ability, they used to just say, "Oh, but he's won the Premier League." Forget what we could do with Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. We could put them in some nasty individual centre half partnerships. Suddenly, that's the best centre half partnership we've seen. Forget what we can do about Bukayo Saka. Forget the Declan Rice agendas. Forget the Timbers and all of those things. David Raya. We know what we're gonna do there. We could be so nasty. Gyökeres, 14, number 14, won our 14th Premier League. I could be so shameless and say this is the greatest Premier League win ever, purely because of what people say. They say my manager's a cone boy and he's out of his depth. They say Saliba and Gabriel are overrated. They say Raya's only good because he's protected by that defense. They say Rice doesn't pass the ball forward. They say Saka's a left back. They talk about Gyökeres in jeans and Martinelli and Trossard and all of these things. We're serial bottlers. We're set piece FC. We're not entertaining. So with everything they say in mind, that means it's the best Premier League accomplishment ever. The nastier agendas I want to put Noni Madueke in. I want to do what Manchester United fans did. The nastiest things I'll do with Norgard. He's got 56 minutes in the Premier League. That's the best winning ratio ever. Do you know how shameless I could be? But we need to win this. They want to see unbearableness. You lot are unbearable. Arsenal fans are special, but when you sit back and look at it, the fans every fan base has people that do too much, people that are loud, people that think they're the best thing since sliced bread. The reason they don't like Arsenal fans is because all their friends, families, co-workers, etc. are Arsenal fans. They give it large. So if Arsenal have their day in the sun, they're not going to be allowed. But we're the unbearable ones. We're one fan base. Everybody can agree, allegedly, that Arsenal are the most deluded fans and we're the worst thing ever and, we should be arrested. And that's what the football universe says. That is what the football universe says. So if you don't want to see unbearability, please don't make my team win stuff. The Premier League, I can see it. I can feel it. It's in reach, people. I don't want to be crude. Women, forgive me, but it's like the prettiest woman ever. I've gone on a date. We're hitting it off. We're planning our lives together. We're in a secluded environment where it's just us two. We're kissing, we're touching, we're doing all of that. It's about time to put the something in, and it's just gone. That's what the last few years have been. This year, man, need to penetrate and bust in there. And then we need a parade, man. The Premier League, I can see it. It feels feasible. It's within touching distance. This is the first season, and a lot of my TalkSport clips are going to age like fine wine. This is the season I went to war. You know that saying about it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war? That's what I felt this season. I felt this season I had to come out of the wilderness, and it's time to back the club. It's time to rebuttal everything and all of those things. I thought we had a good chance in the previous few years, but I didn't quite subscribe to that until this season. And I'm not going to sit and be a hypocrite. I've been nitpicking all season. The Newcastle away game, I thought, oh, you know what? We're going to have a great year now. This is where it all this is what I'm looking at. Of course, I've been frustrated. Chelsea away pissed me off. The 2 games against Liverpool and seeing where Liverpool are at this moment to not take points off, it pisses me off. 3 games against City haven't won. If there's one game that pees me off the most, bar the League Cup final and how we performed in that, it would have been at the Emirates because I think they were there for the taking. Aston Villa, a minute away from getting a point, we obviously conceded. Sunderland away, a Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, second, third year in a row. I think we fucked about there, really, if I'm honest. And side note, Chelsea fans, I don't want to hear nothing from you lot crying about Manchester City getting some dodgy decisions with Koznarov and all of this. You lot are another fan base that works for City. Hold that in it. We're the only ones that, if you're not A's up till we freeze up, corner boys in the building, we're by ourselves in it. But I can nitpick. I thought it would, like I said, I was nitpicking. Even when we've won, I've nitpicked people. I've been peed off and we got out of jail. I thought it was done. Wolves away. I thought Brentford away peed me off. I felt Wolves away was done for 2 reasons. Because when we beat them at the Emirates, we should have learned certain lessons. Obviously, 2 goals up, effed it. The bad momentum that left us. Obviously, when we lost the League Cup final, we found ourselves in a bad moment. I thought it was done at Bournemouth as well. So Wolves away, Bournemouth, I thought it was done. David Moyes, big up yourself. You, Thomas Frank, Murillo, there's so much people that are not connected to Arsenal that need to be invited to this parade. Yeah, you put my faith back, and suddenly I feel happy as Larry. I do think it's a formality, people, but I don't know. Is it the Arsenal PTSD of previous years? It feels like that, but then it also feels like this year is different in that, bro, you have to try really hard to F this up. We know how big it is. We can't play it down. We can't play it up, but it's a game of football. It's our last game at the Emirates. Go and beat Burnley. I must admit, I do change my mind now because I did feel when we came into this final stretch of games, right, where at the time City had Everton away, Everton away, Aston Villa on the last day of the season, Brentford and Bournemouth. Everyone can beat everyone in the Premier League. 9 times out of 10, it's these kind of games for all the traditional big 6 that's where the F-ups happen. I was believing, you know what, Bournemouth, Areola's a, very good manager, very good team, nasty ground to play at, last home game of the season, Areola, forgive me if I'm wrong about that, Areola's last game as manager at their place, it's his last season. You could say there's intangibles with us and playing Crystal Palace on the last day of the season, and Crystal Palace makes me nervous, man. It'd be a full circle moment. Our title challenge in 2022-23 began Crystal Palace away, and it could end in terms of winning it Crystal Palace away. But yeah, as I was saying, people, I did think Bournemouth was the one that City dropped points. I don't quite believe that. Obviously, they've got a wind in their sails now from obviously winning the FA Cup. Not that they never had that before. They've got 2 domestic trophies, could do a domestic treble, and there's still rumours about Pep cutting. But it doesn't matter to a degree what Rodri and Bernardo Silva in the football world says. It's us against ourselves. We can't talk up the occasion. We can't talk it down. We're 3 games away from glory. History making, in a sense. Obviously, if you win the Premier League, you've made history, but you could be the first team to win the Champions League and things of that ilk. You could be the team to restore us back to greatness. What is it Henry says about undeniables and unforgettables or something like that? It feels like it's here. It's within reach, man. Just go out there, relish the energy of the home fans, go and beat Burnley. Hopefully, all we need is City to drop a point. Obviously 3 would be great. Drop a point and see where we're going. On one hand, I do think it's many twists and turns. I do also think this could go down to the last day of the season and there might be Aguero moments. Could you imagine we lose to Burnley or drop points, City go and win? Obviously, at some point, depending on if we go down or City go up or vice versa, you can see the roller coaster of emotions on the last day of the season, man. It's in our hands, though, people. And it's almost surreal, man, to look at the league table. As you can see here, if you just give me a moment, people. As you can see here, 79 points. City have 77. We've drawn 7. They've drawn 8. We've both lost the same amount of games with 5. Goal difference stands at 42 to 43. And they ain't lost in 5 games. We've obviously got 2 losses and 3 wins. It just shows you there's everything to play for. Like I said, 3 games. especially at home against Burnley. Now, granted, Burnley are down. Some could be playing for pride. Some could be playing for moves. Obviously, if Arsenal win, there's no real headlines with Burnley. If Burnley win, they get all the glory. They score early. There's some nerves there. Same intangibles with Crystal Palace, but at the same time, you've got to earn the right to win. Football matches are not won on paper. We've all been watching the game long enough to see it don't matter what this team is doing and that team is doing. Upsets are there to happen. The only upset I want is stuff irrelevant to Arsenal, in the sense that all us Arsenal fans, we need to be ecstatic. The whole of the football world needs to cry. But again, people, are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you confident? These last 3 games, you wouldn't be human, innit? Like, if you didn't have fear and anxiety and all the good connotations and the bad connotations, you wouldn't be human if you couldn't recognize these emotions. The difference is you got to be able to channel it. Now, I'll tell you, said we's on fire. Bring your dinner. It's the most beautiful part of the season. Make sure there's a beautiful ending, lads. Up the Gunners.